Today we're going to be playing Black Yellow Koala. Yes, this leader right here that everyone was so freaking hyped for, and then everybody was like, oh, look at Zoro. And so nobody talks about Black Yellow Koala. Nobody's giving you deck builds on Black Yellow Koala. Nobody even wants to mention this leader. Everybody's talking about Rayleigh and Zoro and I guess maybe Sanji. I don't really know who else. It's just those two at the moment, and I guess Sanji. No one's talking about Law. No one's talking about Koala. Kuzan's good. I will say Kuzan is actually a really interesting list that I might want to work on in the future. But for now, I'm going to give you guys Black Yellow Koala. So I hope you're ready for a deck profile and then some games on the sim. As always, here is BY Koala. The leader effect is kind of complicated, saying when this leader attacks your opponent's leader, if you have 2 or more characters that cost of 8 or more, draw 1 card, allowing us to get a really strong cycle through the deck for having multiple 8 cost characters, and also having the effect that says once per turn, when your opponent plays a character with a cost of 8 or more, or when your opponent plays a character through the effect of another character, you may activate this effect. Your opponent adds 1 card from the top of their life to their hands. We have the ability to play anti-dex, and I know that sounds very weird to just say anti-dex, but obviously you're seeing the deck is Blue Purple Luffy. This deck was made literally just to decimate Blue Purple Luffy, it seemed, and that's what everyone talked about when the leader first came out. But now we need an actual strategy for the deck list that plays into the entire meta. We're going to be playing a hand rip strategy, and no, we're not going to be using this 2-cost event here. We're actually going to be using a plethora of new cards and older cards, and mainly newer cards though, from the OP12 format. Well, you may be wondering how we have that first leader effect as active. Well, we play characters like Hawk, Morley, and Karasu that add additional cost to their character to make them into 8-cost characters. Nico Robin, Karasu. We're even going to be using our old school strategy of Perona for a 4-cost character to play on curve when we need it, and just to rip a card from our opponent's hand while also being a 2k counter. We're playing cards like Dragon to play out multiple bodies at one time. Obviously, this Nico Robin is probably the most important card in the deck because just forcing your opponent out of 2 cards is really good, and only having a limit of 5 is kind of insane because after you use this card, if you use it a second time, it's basically just GG's. If your opponent has to discard 4 cards total, it's good game. Good game, shake hands, we're on to the next one. We're also playing the new 6-drop Kuma, which is a secret rare from OP12 that basically just says discard 1 card, gain 1 life, and this card gets +2 cost until the end of your opponent's turn. It also has the effect that says once per turn, on KO, add 1 card from the top of your deck to the top of your life cards. Now, let's talk about that deck profile. Here is what we're rocking with today for Koala. Now, we have a lot of different cards in here that we're gonna have to go over, and a few, well, 1 tech option. There's also a few other tech options, but we have one already down here. So Koala is going to be a top 3 searcher, trashing the rest of the cards you choose not to grab to fill up your trash for characters like Dragon later on that we'll talk about in a minute. Running 4 of the Ivankov. Ivankov is not necessary as a 4 of, just to be very transparent. This is more of a starter beginner list than anything else. I think you can cut Ivankov or go down to 2 Ivankov, maybe playing Karasu instead. I have seen people play the blocker Karasu because it is a trigger out of life, but personally I like Ivankov more because it fills up your trash even more, and I find with the deck that we are building, sometimes it's hard to set up for your Dragon, so I think Ivankov is necessary. We're running 4 of the Pudding, or Perona, as a 2k counter. It says if your opponent has 5 or more cards in hand, choose one of the following. Give one of your opponent's -3 cost. Is not going to happen in this deck because that's not what we do with the deck profile we've personally built. But it does say you may discard 1 card from your hand, or your opponent discards 1 card from their hand when, as one of the abilities you can choose to activate, just ripping more cards from our opponent's hand. We have Hawk as a blocker. This card has +4 cost and blocker. On KO, if your leader is Revo Army type, KO one of your opponent's original cost of 4 or less. So in the mirror match, it pops the other Hawk or the Morley or whatever they have that has additional cost, but it must be a 4-cost character. Now, Hawk is not great. I'm not going to lie to you. There's a lot of decks not really playing anything that gets popped by Hawk anymore. A lot of decks are playing 5 cost, 6 cost, 7 cost, etc. And so this is more just for chump blockers later on, or for setting up just for your leader effect. Just to be honest, don't be afraid to swing out with Hawk. That's basically what I'm trying to get at here. This card is definitely one you can actually attack into your opponent and they can't really remove it, or they just lose a character on their board. So it's really nice to be able to just swing aggressively into your opponent and put some pedal to the metal. I think that's really important in this deck, and people do not utilize putting pedal to the metal. Running 4 of the Morley. It is just a Revo Army type with +4 cost and a 2k counter, so it works when we don't find Hawk. It gives us 8 honest answers for going second, because this deck does like to go second. So we go Hawk, Morley, one of those 2, and then we play one of our 6 costs that basically have extra cost, and then our leader effect active, we start drawing cards like crazy, and so on and so forth. We're playing 2 of the Sabo blocker to help with KO based matchups because it stops them from KOing our cards, and then we get a draw 2, trash 2 filter, which is always going to be good in a deck like this. We're running 4 of the Karasu, which is the same as all the others. It basically becomes an 8 cost through its leader effect, or through its effect, and then when attacking, if your leader is a rebel army type, and your opponent has 5 or more cards in their hand, your opponent trashes 1 card. So it's a going first option to trash cards from your opponent's hand, and I think it's really good. Just to be honest, if you get this on the board and you continue to use it over and over again, I swing 6 at you, so you have to give me a 2k counter from countering this card, but first you have to discard a card from your hand. So really, Karasu swinging at your opponent gets 2 cards out of hand. So this card is really busted, really underrated, and I think you better be ready to drop this thing down. This card is freaking good. We're running 4 of the Nico Robin that has +3 cost and is a blocker, so it's very good. And then it says, on play you may trash 1 card from your hand. If your opponent has 5 or more cards in their hand, your opponent trashes 2 cards. Just ripping 2 cards from hand over and over and over again. If you can put down multiple of these, as we've mentioned, this card's just busted. This card is really just broken. We are running 4 of the Dragon as well. Place 3 Rebel Army type cards from your trash to the bottom of your deck in any order. Then, if your leader has a Rebel Army type, play up to 1 character with a cost of 6 or less from your trash. Now, obviously, it is leader locked to Rebel Army, so it's not no Gecko Moria. I've heard people say this card is the Gecko Moria of nowadays. No, not at all. This card has to be played in Rebel Army, so it's not as good as a Gecko Moria. But in the decks that it can be played, I think this card is really good because we're going to put down Dragon, we're going to put down Nico Robin, and call it a day. It's similar to basically what Garp does. If you look at the blue Garp, it just plays an 8k power character, and it's an 8 cost character. So they're on similar power levels. I wouldn't say there's anything crazy about this card. This card also, actually, you have to have 3 Rebel Army type cards in the trash, so you do have to set up for Dragon a little more than people expect. So I think Dragon's a great card. It's really good in this deck, and something we're going to utilize because it grabs any card 6 cost or lower. Spin grab Karasu, Sabo, Morley, Hawk. Anything we need in this stack here, we can grab out. So obviously Nico Robin and Kuma are going to be the main targets, but when you don't have them, you just don't got them. Running 4 of the Kuma, this does trigger out a life. If you and your opponent's total life is 5 or less, and it's a 2k counter, and it's Revo Army type. Now we have Sanji. Sanji is something I'm teching in, but I want to mention that you could be playing this Trafalgar Law instead, but we're going to talk about Sanji to start. I wanted to test out Sanji. I have been playing the Law personally, because Law gives you multiple options to remove cards from your opponent's hand or draw cards, while Sanji has more parameters that say if you have 2 or less life, draw 2, trash 1, and that's good. But I think just a free draw with the Law may be a little better. They're both 1k counters. I actually think I'm going to switch back to the Law because I was playing 2 and 2 here for the Sabo and Law just because I like this card to be able to rip cards from your opponent's hand, and it's Dressrosa type, so if you ever did want to go with the Dressrosa Koala build, this is definitely a card you'll be playing. Now we're running 4 of the Kuma. This is just the trash 1 gain a life card we talked about earlier, and then on KO just gaining another life, which basically forced your opponent to remove this from other options other than KOing. You cannot just KO this card outright, or I'm going to gain life and just continue the game on. So this card, really freaking good. Now we have Captain's Assemble. This is actually supposed to be a 4 of in the deck, so we are going to switch that over real quick because we may need multiple of these. We're running 4 of this because it looks at the top 3. It does the same thing. You grab Revo Army type and then add it to your hand and trash the rest. Similar to Koala, except Koala can also grab Nico Robin, which is kind of nice because you can grab this card right here. So keep that in mind. Sometimes you will lose the card if you don't find the card, and then you're messing things up. So make sure you don't go over your Nico Robins unless you have a dragon to set up. And then that's basically what I got to say about Captain's Assemble. And finally, versus Shock. Now, this card I think is low-key busted. This card is low-key, I think this card's so good. KO one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 4 or less. So for 4 Dawn, you KO 4 cost. That's alright. But then if you have a character with a cost of 8 or more, which 90% of the time we do, you may instead KO up to one of your opponent's 6 cost or lower. So basically, if we play this on 4 Dawn, the first time we hit 4 to pop a 3 cost, this is doing what it needs to do. It's removing bodies off the board, and sometimes it's all you got. But later in the game, anytime this card is going to be popping a 6 cost, because we're always going to have something or something that becomes an 8 cost plus character. So this card always popping 6 cost, and it says draw 1, then trash the top card of your deck as a trigger. So it's drawing you a card, replacing the Ursa Shock when you don't need it, and then trashing a card from the top of your deck, filling up your trash. This deck is a lot of fun. Basically, you're going to see me just ruin some people's day today. The goal is literally just to take every card from their hand, continue to draw cards from our first leader effect, and then force your opponent to take life aggressively, and then you take that life and you discard it. It's literally just like, here, you played an 8 cost character, take that life. My turn, Nico Robin, discard 2 cards. It doesn't feel too good for our opponents there. I've enjoyed this deck a lot. It's actually really fun to play, and it does feel bad sometimes. Some people literally just quit. I don't know if we'll have that today because we haven't played the games yet, but literally I've had people just quit because I will go Nico Robin, quit, and it's just game over. So, hey, that's going to be the deck profile. Let's get into some actual games on the sim, and this is my version. Of course, there's many other ways to play Nico Robin, to play Koala, and so if you have a different way to play, go ahead and play your way. This is going to be a fun video today. I will see you guys in the games. That kind of rhymed. All right, let's take on Zoro because this is always going to be a good matchup. This is a horrible first hand in case you're wondering. We ain't doing that. What we're going to do right here is find... Well, this does actually find Nico Robin. Nico Robin is pretty good. Vonkov's pretty good. Vonkov's actually not great in this matchup. Vonkov is not good in this matchup because they just rest it down and KO it, and then it's just wraps from there. So Vonkov, not even going to worry about it. Not even going to stress it. I'm going to go all Nico Robin. We're just going to take every single card from this Zoro's hand. That's going to be the goal. We also have the Ursa Shock to remove bodies off the board. This is going to be a big body to put down when we're going into a heavier turn. So it's options. We got options for show, for show. We're going to be able to swing big here. Swinging big is always nice. We're going to go a big ol' 8. Yep, you were not going to ever counter that. Now we go 8. We could have gone 5 and 5 in the face, but that wouldn't make sense when they have a Hiyori. If they would not have played the Hiyori, we would have gone 5 and 5 because it would have burned more cards from hand. Pass to our opponent. Now, obviously if they want to strap up here and swing big in the Koala, they're not developing bodies, or if they put down Quina, well then I just remove Quina and I don't really care. So personally, I say we're doing all right. I would love to find a Karasu right here, way more than playing this Law. They're going to play down this Perona. Perona doesn't really do too much, so they should swing 8 into Koala and then 8 in the face. We will take that aggressively because 8 is a little much, and I don't really want to deal with it. They're going to grab Quina here. Queen is going to be able to basically rest a 4 cost and then get some Dawn back, do whatever they need to do. So it just tells me I'm not going to play a 4 cost here. I'm going to force them to have the Tashigi. We're going to take this attack aggressively, and, oh wait. Oh, it's original cost 4. That's right. Well, that tells me, guess what? We're going to be playing probably Trafalgar Law. That kind of sucks, though, doesn't it? That's not great. Ooh. I don't think I want to do that. I think I'm going to look at the top 5. Going to grab Akuma, and then we're going to play down Morley. So we're just going to swing 5. They're going to counter this for 1 here because they have 8 cards in hand. They're going to counter, right? Maybe. Maybe. Maybe not. Maybe. Maybe not. But maybe. But they don't know. They don't know. Me personally, I'm countering this, probably. Probably countering that. Yep. We're going to play it on the Morley to get down an 8-cost character. We're going to force them to have the Quina, actually. I believe, we know they have the Quina, but we're going to force them to use it. Because that'd be 4. They get back 3. They would be swinging maybe, possibly 10 in a Morley. If so, that's kind of fine. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm kind of okay with that. If you want to swing 10 into Morley, sure, go ahead. Quina here does rest original cost of 4 or less, so that is kind of busted. I'm not going to lie. Zoro is a very tough matchup for us here. But this is going to show you how we win this matchup, even when it's difficult. They played on the Tashigi instead, get back 3 Dawn. Now they're going to be able to swing 9 into the Morley. And I'm going to save it. I'm going to let you know right now. I'm going to save it. Because we're going to get our leader effect as active on this next turn. We're going to put down a big body. We could even Ursa's Shock, pop the Tashigi, but I think we're going to save this for the Cavendish, maybe? 8? We're not going to let that go. So when I can just 2K, I'm going to save this guy every time. They won't have any more swings. They do have 1 Dawn active. That 1 Dawn could be for another Searcher, maybe. Maybe they played on a Hiyori. Maybe they have it for a 1-cost event. Now they get to go 9. Restand leader. Well, they should have just gone 9 in the first place. We're going to take that pretty aggressively here. I don't mind taking that one. And, ooh. I don't think I need to pop the Tashigi, to be honest. I think I can just go Nico Robin, trash a Law, and then force 2 cards out of my opponent's hand. Forcing 2 cards out is just always going to be good. Now we're stuck with a bunch of 1K counters. The Hawk doesn't do too much right now, so we do have the Kuma to continue to gain life. Kuma would have been really good here, but I like to go and rip cards early because it gives our opponent less options. So you can see how they are trying to decide what they want to do here. And that was the goal. Literally, that was the whole entire goal. Just to force our opponent down, make them feel bad. I want to make them feel bad. I want them to hurt on the inside. We are going to swing 5. We're going to swing out with Morley this time because obviously if we don't, we're probably not going to get value out of it. So I'm definitely going to go in. Now, will our opponent allow us to go in? Maybe. Maybe not, but maybe. We're not doing that again. We're not doing that again. I guess we just sit back, relax, get comfy. Just don't forget to look at their clock. Look, it's already past 14 minutes. It's been about 35 seconds or so. Maybe they have a really good hand they just don't want to get rid of. Big girl, oh my goodness. Oh my gosh. Big girl. Big girl. Hi. Well, now we have a cat that's been a whole minute. We might just have to quit this. She's licking my nose. Alright, so it's been about 70 years, and our opponent did finally figure out what they were going to get rid of. We're going to swing 5 at our opponent. Then we're going to swing 6 at our opponent. They'll probably go ahead and take both of these. I think, did we have a Nico Robin earlier? I don't think so. We're going to swing 6 now, force out a 2K. We're going to find a 2K now, which is very nice. Sometimes it's nice just to draw exactly what you need. We're going to sit back because the cat's on our lap, and this thing's like 50 pounds, so it kind of forces us down. Get confused on here sometimes. It's all right, buddy. It's all right. All right. Petunia, are you going to forgive him? I think she's gonna forgive him. She got the chance to jump up on my lap because of it. So I ain't never seen something so big jump that high. She did so good. It's like Shaquille O'Neal jumping on my lap right now. They're gonna rest down the Hiyori, look at the top 5 cards of the deck, and they're gonna grab down a Shimatsuki Kozabura. This rests a 2-cost character, pops a 2-cost character. That's honestly not great. So I don't fully understand why we're playing that, but hey, it is what it is. They're going to be able to probably get rid of our Morley this turn and then swing 8 at face and 7 at face. We're going to get out of one of those attacks, not both. We're going to be able to gain a life next turn from the Kuma and pop a character. 8 we're going to let them have right here. And we're going to put Petunia on the floor. And now we're back. We are so freaking back. 7 at face. I think we're just going to take that. Ooh, that's pretty good. I think I'm going to block and then 1K, 1K. Just to put the Kumas in the trash. Or do we have another Nico Robin in the trash? We don't really have a great target, so we're actually going to block 1K, 1K here, because we're going to be playing down the dragon. And we know we're going to play down the dragon. Now, we could have gone Kuma and then had 3 extra Dawn, but that's not really going to get me anywhere that I need. So, to get value out of drawing cards, we're going to have to swing the Nico Robin to the Hiyori, or we allow them to draw cards, which I think at this point we're okay with, so maybe we just ignore the Hiyori. Do we ignore the Hiyori? We could clear board altogether. We could just go 4 Dawn, pop the Tashigi, play Karasu. Question is, if they have the restand event, we could just lose, so we need to heal. That's the only issue. But also, popping that wouldn't be horrible. But then we'd have to play Hawk. But then they could rest Hawk with the Koina we know they had in their hand, because we have not seen that Koina yet. So we know they still have a Koina, so that the Hawk is not going to do anything. We have to go Dragon here. So with having Dragon, we need to draw another card to get more counter. So we're going to have to go Dragon first. We're going to return 3 cards from the trash. And then we're going to play out the Kuma. We're going to trash the Ursa Shock. We're going to gain a life. We will be able to swing face here. And then they should possibly counter for 1K. We are going to swing for... They did give us the Kawina here, so that's good information to have. I don't think we care if they search 1 card. I think I'm okay swinging 7 at face. This is going to be a risky decision to make, but I think it's not the worst. Now we're just going to pass over to our opponent. I don't think they expected that. We still have a lot of strong bodies on the board. We have about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7K total counter. So even if our opponent went 7, 12, 12, we don't really lose. They can go Mihawk, restand 4. Well, now they have to take another life, which is fine with me. Getting that Karasu on the board definitely wouldn't have been bad here. Definitely wouldn't have been bad here, but we did get at least the Kuma out here. They could go, what, 11 into Nico Robin, 11 into face. Oh, they go Tashigi. Tashigi's always going to be pretty good. Now they can go 8 into board and then 8 into face. So we have to be able to get out of a 7 and an 8. So we go 2K to save the Nico Robin because we do need the Nico Robin. Then they're going to go 7 into face. We're going to have to go 2K, 1K, and then 8 we're going to have to take because we don't have a way to get our... Ooh, that's actually okay with me. That's less counter because they restand and swing another 8. And we just take. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. I'm not going to lie to you. That's pretty dang good. Well, we're just going to go, I think this is what we do. 5 at face, draw a card. Dang, we're not going to be able to use that event. But it's going to have something for us to discard with the Nico Robin. Oh, we should have probably Nico Robin first. I fumbled. I got excited. Well, they can't take this or they just lose, right? They still just lose. What I was planning on doing was going to Nico Robin them, but I messed up. I literally just messed up. 17 GG's. That's going to be game. 3 Cavendishes and a Paradise Waterfall. Didn't even leave a Dawn active. No, they should have... Oh, 3 1Ks they couldn't have gotten out of the 8. That's crazy. That's crazy work right there. So they should have just countered out of the 7, blocked out of the 8, and then we would have had to have split. Well, the split would have happened, actually, because we would have gone 8. The 1 card in hand that hits, they go plus 1,000. We just go 9, and then that's game. No, 8 again, that's game, I guess. I don't know. The math would math no matter what, but what we were going to do is actually... We didn't have to go for game. We could have gone Nico Robin blocker active, Nico Robin ripping 2 cards from hand, and then we could have gone Hawk. So then at least we have 3 total blockers, 1 life, and then we still have cards in hand and we draw. It would have been okay. We would have controlled the board pretty well. I think we did really good in that matchup. I did misplay there at the very end, but we got through. But at least I saw the misplay. I can tell you the misplay, and we can go to the next game. OP12 Zoro is interesting here. I think we're going to just keep this hand because we have Hawk, and Nico Robin. I like having a strong hand like this. We're going to be able to go Koala. Look at the top 3. We're going to grab a Karasu and then pass. We're going to be able to play down Karasu on 5 or Nico Robin on 6, depending on what our hand is looking like. We're going to go next turn. We're going to go Hawk. We basically gave them their perfect curve, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay giving them their perfect little curve. Let them do their thing. They're going to swing in for 6. Well, we're going to go ahead and counter out of that. I like to counter pretty aggressively with this deck when I can. So anything 5s and 6s we are going to counter out of. They're showing me 2 active Dawn. I really don't want to handle 2 characters being put out on the board. So I'm just going to play out a 4 cost and then pass. I get to rip cards from their hand anyway, so I don't need to swing those low swings and risk them playing some big character. So this is a little better here. They are going to be able to play out a bunch of bodies, but the thing is with Tony Chopper, we force them to take a life, which is totally okay, because we can keep swinging board and force them to take life. They're going to swing in for 5 at us. We're going to go ahead and give them the Karasu here to have 2 8-cost characters on this next turn to draw 1 card. That's kind of the goal. And here's where we swing out. We're going to have to Nico Robin first to have the 2 8-cost characters. So we're going to play out Nico Robin, trash a dragon, and force 2 cards out of our opponent's hand. And then we're going to go to swing. I think we're okay with them having a couple bodies. They play 2 Nami Searchers on the ground. I don't like those 2 non-active. I really don't. I think we're going to swing the body on the board first, just to not give them any answers. I think we are going to swing the Hawk. They are going to go double shut up and come with us, which is okay. I'm actually okay with that. I'm not okay with it. Oh, that's a good thing. But I can make do with what it is. I can make do with what they're about to do, if that do's the do. I do want to draw more cards, though, so I will. Now they're going to play out Chopper and then play out Hiking Bear. Well, Chopper and a Hiking Bear take a life. That's going to be good for them. They get to add a card back to their hand after losing their whole hand size, basically. But at this point, I'm not scared to go for face. Because if you're going to build a board like this, I know I can't handle that. I'm going to swing 5 at your face. And now you make a decision. If you already have a full board, now you can't play characters next turn. That's fine at this point. I can block with the Hawk. Oh, wait. He is rested down, so that's not going to happen. Well, I can counter with the Hawk and then set him up for next turn. I can play the Hawk. I can use the Hawk next turn. Ooh, they're going to go Honesty Impact, swing for a bunch of attacks. They're going to be able to go... Can't swing with Hiking Bear, but they can go 5. All right. I'm going to pop a character on the board. It's going to be fine with me. I get a body off the board. It's always good. We're going to be able to force them to take another life to hand. They're going to swing in for 5 here. We're going to go ahead and counter 1 because we can. They're going to swing in for 6 here. We can counter this as well. If they choose to play out a body, we're going to be in a really good spot. I'm actually really okay if they do. They're going to have to force them to take another life. I like that idea. I don't think they've taken a life this turn. I don't think they have, but hey, maybe they choose not to, because I think choosing not to may actually be the right choice. If not, that's a little rough. I ain't gonna lie to you, that's a little rough. They do play out another character. Fair enough. And that plays out another character. Take a life. That took a lot of time just so that I could counter. Whoops. Hit the wrong button. Hit the wrong guy. Well, that sucks. We're going to take this. We're going to use the trigger. We're going to trigger out the body, actually, just to put down another swing, basically, to have on the board. Now, is it a 2K? I doubt it's a 2K. We're going to go 8 cost. We're going to return. Doesn't really matter which ones. We're going to put the... I think it's best to put Hawk on the board. Better than Nico Robin? I think so. Because popping a character is pretty dang good. We're going to swing 5 at face, draw a card. We're going to sit on 1K counter, a blocker, and a rested body. We're going to pass. And now if our opponent uses the chopper, they're going to go down to 0 life. I'm okay with that. I am clearly okay with that. They need to get their high priority KO target here out of the way. They need to swing with this first, more than likely. They're going to buff up this Tony Chopper. If your leader is a Straw Hat Crew, give it to 1 rested Dawn that's on play, and then times 2 Dawns, the character gets plus 2,000 power. Alright, so they'd have to attach 2 Dawn. That's a 9K body if they do that. That's crazy. Because they just bumped it up with Hiking Bear. They have plus 1,000 from the leader effect. And then times 2 Dawn, it gets plus 2,000 extra power. It's pretty good. Oh, it's opponent's turn. Never mind. I can't read. I cannot read. Well, take a life. I think I just take. I don't think I worry about it. Because I don't want to block such a small attack. Especially how many swings they do have that could hit me. I don't think I block something like that. Oh, interesting. Well, they're all 5Ks here, so I guess we go ahead and hit the chopper. Might as well. So we know they can swing 5, 5, 7. Well, I can get out of 5. No matter what, it's like 5. I should have another 1K in hand as well, so I guess I just take in case they want to go for board. Technically, I could trigger this out, but I think no matter what, I just have game. I don't think I even need to trigger it out. That's just GG's. A little confused in that matchup, but I think we played everything correct. That was wild, dude. I feel like every turn they were just chopper, take a life, chopper, take a life, chopper, take a life. So they lost their life so quickly, and then were able to control their hand size at the same time. So that's why I think when we swung out earlier with the Hawk and everything, we had to take on a little more aggression and have a smaller hand size because of it. But then he went for KOing it anyways, which maybe was the wrong choice on his side. But I don't know. I think we just did everything correct. I think we played how we're supposed to. I think that was a good matchup for us. I'm kind of amazed. I didn't think we'd do that good into an aggro matchup. I chose it just because I was like, we'll see what will happen. That's a pretty good matchup. We did pretty solid in that, and he high rolled 2 1-cost events that don't force him to take life into 2 3-cost choppers that spit out a bunch of bodies. That was actually crazy. So Shanks, let's take this on. We've done a red deck, we've done a green deck. Let's do a red deck. Well, we did a green deck and then a red deck. Now let's do another red deck. Let's see how it goes. Our opponent chooses to go second, of course, so we're going to keep this because this is a good going first hand. Sadly, it's not the greatest hand, I'm not going to lie to you, but we do have the Ivankov to at least fill up our trash a little bit, our Sabo to fill up our trash a little bit, and then on 7 Dawn, we just don't have anything to do, so Ivankov pass. We get to fill up the trash with the Dragon and an Ivankov, put some bodies on the floor. The bodies hit the floor, as they say. Our opponent's going to swing for 5 at us. We are going to counter 2 because we don't really have a 1k I want to get rid of because I'm going to play this on this turn. This could be a good turn to go Perona, not going to lie, but draw 2, trash 2, getting some filters, definitely going to be good. Sabo, draw 2. Next turn we're going to 7, so we can swing in for 6, and then Nico Robin, so that's about the best we have. We're going to trash Perona and Morley. We're going to keep the 1-cost event for later. And pass. No reason to swing 5 and then just minus it by 1. So in case you're wondering why I'm not swinging, it's because of that. It's just, there's no point in it. There's literally no point in it. They're going to play down the Shanks, giving minus 2,000 power to a character for the entire turn. Kind of annoying, not going to lie. We're going to go into 2k out of this attack. They're going to swing in for 7 with the Sanji, maybe. 6 with the Sanji. We're going to take. Draw 1 and trash the top card of your deck. We're going to choose not to do that. The thing is, we're going to set up for our character here. So we're not going to have a 5k swing. So maybe we go 5 and a Sanji. They could just Shanks, block out, but I want to see if they will. Nope, they choose not to. It's good for me. They get to draw a card. Good for them. We're going to look at the top 3. We're going to grab a Kuma because we cannot grab the other characters. And then we're going to go, trying to do some math here. No reason to swing 5 because they have the Shanks here. So we're going to Nico Robin trash Kuma to set up for Dragon next turn. So we can play down Dragon and then play out the Kuma next turn. Or we can Ursa Shock. So it gives us both the options here. And I think that's really good. Now we get 2 cards out of their hand and then we get to pass. This is not looking great. This is not looking great. I'm going to be honest with you. Them going second, I think really just, it hurts. It doesn't feel good. I don't like the feeling that we're going through. They're going to swing in for 6. I'm going to go 2k. You see how aggressively I do this. They're going to swing in for 6. I'm going to go take. We're going to go Dragon, return. We're going to play out Nico Robin. We're going to trash and then force 2 cards out of our opponent's hand again. I'm going to go 5 and a face. That's going to allow me to finally draw a card because we have 2 8-cost characters on the board. We're going to go 5 and a face. We're going to go 5 and a face, and then we're going to go 6 and a face. Oh, they Shanks, and then what? This is crazy. Guess what? 5 and a face. They're going to take 1 life here. That's going to be very nice. Now pass. That Shanks is super annoying. That's why I'm holding this Ursa Shock, because we're going to 10 Dawn. We can Kuma, Ursa Shock, pop the Shanks, draw a card with leader effect. We should have some movement here. We will force our opponent to take a life, which is very nice. They're going to have a 10 drop 12 rush Shanks. They can swing in for 5 at us. We can just, no matter what, we block this attack, right? They're going to swing 12 into it. Now we're going to give them the Shanks. Now they can swing 6 into 6, and then we can give them Morley. But no matter what, at least we get the Shanks sideways into 3. Interesting enough. All right, touche. Did not expect that. I'm going to be honest. I did not expect to see that. So we are going to Ursa Shock the Shanks so they can't use its ability. We're going to go 5 directly in the face to draw a card. And then I'm going to go, they're going to leader effect that. We're going to go 6 in the face. We're going to go 7 in the face. They're going to 2k, 1k out of that one, so that tells me they just drew a 2k. If they're wanting to counter out aggressively, they just drew a 2k. And so we know they don't have, but we know they have 3 1k or less. We're going to go Kuma, gain a life, pass. So if they do have some kind of KO removal for this Kuma, we're okay with that. We have 4k counter in hand. We're filtering through the deck as best we can. We're forcing our opponent down in life. They're going to take that life. 2 10 8s. Not great. We're going to use the information we have, right? We're going to use the information we have. They choose not to swing us. So we know at most they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5k counter, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're going to go 9 into face. It's going to be either 2k, 1k, 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 or it's not. You know what I mean? So I guess I'd have to 4 Dawn then. So we can go 9. If that hits, we'll go for game. Because then that would be 2k, 1k, 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 possibly 2k. So they're going to shrink it, and then they just take. Now we're going to go 10 into face, 11 into face, and that should just be game. So we use context clues there. You can see by the hand, they only had the 1, 2K. They tapped out all the way, so Divine Departure was a brick. Brick, 3K, 2K, 1K, and then they got the last 1K out of life. So we swung 9, they put it to 8. They only had 2K, 1K at the time, then they took the Shanks. So the math there. We should have gone 10 and 10 technically, but 10 and 10 is a little less likely, and I didn't feel comfortable doing that. We didn't have a blocker to put on the board to deal with 12, 12, 5, so we kind of needed to go for game there, to be honest, because if they would have put one more big body, I guess they would have had to play they would have to play some kind of rush to go for game, so maybe we would have been okay, but then they go blocker, but then they don't have a blocker, so we had the options. I'm just trying to walk you through every single step that could have happened, but I think due to that last turn of seeing them counter a 7 but not counter a 6, gave me all the information that I needed when they went 2K, 1K, and that was game with Shanks. Basically just rush them down really, really fast, force them to take life when they put 10 drop bodies, and continue on with the game. Forcing cards out of hand is always good, and so even with how slow we rolled it, we still won in the end. Let's finish off against a blue deck, because we've gone every other color in the game. We're going to go second, because this deck likes to go second. We like to go second, and double searchers is really good here, so I'm going to keep double searchers and hope we find a hawk. We're looking for something to up our cost. They're going to grab an ice block pheasant peck. We're going to go Koala. Koala's going to find hawk. We're going to go Koala. Koala's going to find Karasu and pass. So at least we have a lot of options. Our goal here is to try to control our opponent's hand as best we can. We're going to counter out as always, because this is how you have to play things. Now they may go 5 here with Tashigi, or they can play down a 3-cost Sengoku, basically just a draw 3. That card is busted. It says trash 1 card from your hand. Oh, you're about to see it. So you trash 1 card, you look at the top 5, you grab 2 cards, and then your leader effect redraws you a card. So basically, you just draw a bunch of cards. They go Gravity Blade, and they go Sakazuki. Gravity Blade does not work great in this event here in what we're doing. So I'm happy about it. They can grab all the Gravity Blades they want to. We're going to go 5 in the face. They should take... Really, I usually see Kuzans take pretty aggressively from the first 2-3 attacks, because then they build a board that you just can't handle. They have 10 cards in hand and not too much to do, but we're going to be doing things a little bit differently here. We're going to go and give them a 2K counter, and we're going to set up for Dragon, so we know 1, 2, we only have 2 Dressrosa types, so we need to put 1 more in the trash pretty soon. We do need to keep that in mind. We can block out the Cavendish, pop the Cavendish, so we're going to go Karasu here. So we're going to go Koala again, because you might as well. We're going to grab I don't mind the Ursa Shock here in case they do play down a big body we want to deal with next turn, especially if they do play down the Kuzan. I'd rather be able to deal with the Kuzan, so I'm going to play down Karasu so we get our draw effect active. We're going to draw into another dragon here, so we have a lot of in-game. We have a lot to do here, and then they're going to take that attack. They're going to take the 5K swing. I think they should just stop after that, honestly. But then we're going to pass, and we're going to sit here with a Hawk. We're going to sit here with Karasu to start getting cards out of our opponent's hand. Hopefully more than 1 card at a time. I think they're going to go, well, we're going to block this. They're going to draw 2, trash 1, basically filtering very, very well. We need to get rid of Cavendish as soon as possible and get rid of its value. So we're going to use this to pop it and get it to where it's gone. They have 7 Dawn. They could go Sakazuki here. Sakazuki's a great option on 7 Dawn. Basically just not getting hit by Ursa Shock in case they do know that we play this. I don't think they've seen us draw it. I think we drew into it from the top of our deck, so they have no idea. But if they do play it on Sakazuki, then they can swing in... no, they can't go Sengoku. They can swing in for 6 at us. We can 2K counter out of that. They're going to go Kuzan instead, similar to what we thought. They're going to trash 1 card. And this card does get +1 cost because they have 5 more cards in hand. So we can't even Ursa Shock the Kuzan at this point. So they stop our Karasu from attacking. We're going to go ahead and counter out again while we can, because we're not going to be able to swing the Karasu, so we don't need to save it. They're going to go to Shigi, look at the top 5 cards. They drop the Gravity Blade, draw 1 from the leader effect. We really need to find a Nico Robin. Honestly, I'm really just looking for Nico Robin here. Still haven't found it. We're going to go Dragon. We're going to return the Ivankov Koala, and then we're going to play out the Kumas, but I'm not loving it, I'm going to be honest. It's okay just to gain another life. We will trash the other Kuma here because we have the other dragon in hand. And then swing 5 in the face, drawing another card. We get another Kuma. Hey, every Kuma we need. We're going to find it today. All right, and then we're just going to pass to our opponent. Our characters will be pretty big. The Gravity Blade would come in handy after these Kumas lose that +2 cost at the end of their turn right here, actually. But all they have is an 8K and a 5K. They're going to tap 8 for the Garp. That's going to play out another character. So they're going to discard 1. They're going to play out another character. We're going to force our opponent to take a life here pretty aggressively. It's pretty nice for us. Now they're going to have the Sakazuki. They're going to draw a bunch of cards. Now they can activate main, get 1 Rested Dawn onto a character. So technically they can go 5, 5, 8, which is way better than going 7. This was actually a misplay. What our opponent should have done here was Sakazuki to give the Dawn to Sengoku, swung 5, 5, 8, forced 2 cards out of our hand, especially with a small hand size like this, in my personal opinion. We're going to go and counter out of the 8, out of the 5, we're going to take the 8, and that's basically just how it is. That is just how it is. We're going to find another dragon. Are you serious? Another dragon. Well, we know we're going to play another dragon here. I don't think there's any doubts about that. We're going to go and swing in for 6 at our opponent, force them to discard a card from hand and possibly even counter, especially seeing how big our board is. We're going to swing in for 7 with our leader, so we're going to go 7 with the Kuma first. Now they're going to have to go and counter that attack. We're going to go 7 more into face here, and we've healed up pretty well. We've put a bunch of bodies on the board. I think we're in a pretty good spot. I'm not going to lie to you. 7, they're going to counter. 7 more, they're going to probably take this attack, if I'm honest with you, but we will be able to draw a card, getting a lot more value. And then we're going to go 8. They're going to give us the Pheasant Peck here, the 1-cost event. They're going to discard 1 card and then draw another card. So it just filters the hand, and then it gets out of an 8k attack for free. We're going to tap 8. We're going to replace this character, return Koala, and a Morley. And then because they have 7, 8, and 6, I don't know. I think we just go with another Kuma here. Kuma's pretty good, and it doesn't get hit by Gravity Blade. We're going to trash the... Do they play any blockers? I don't think so. I don't think we need Ursa Shock. But in case they take our board, Dragon's just going to be good. I think we're going to drop the Ursa Shock, gain another life, and then pass to our opponent. So we're really ahead of the game. We have a full board. We have more board space to play. We have an 8k, 7k basically coming back in. They need to get rid of the Karasu because we're just going to keep taking cards from their hand. They tap 2 Dawn here for a Maynard for a 2-cost chump blocker. Just to put a blocker down on the board, that's always going to be good. The Ursa Shock would have helped with that, but it's not that necessary for a 2-cost chump blocker. If you're spending 4 Dawn to get rid of a chump blocker, you're better just swinging big on a different swing, in my personal opinion. Splitting that 4 Dawn into different bodies. So, I don't know. Personal opinion. Now they have at least Rested Dawn for the Sakazuki. They can basically just blast our board out. And I would understand it. They're going to get the free Rested Dawn from the Sakazuki, because you might as well. They're scared to play an 8-cost character that puts them down another life. So they have to basically play 7-cost and lower. They can play another Kuzan, stop the dragon from attacking, or force the Kuma into not attacking, because they can't attack the Kuma, but they can't attack the dragon. Maybe that's a good option. I'm not too sure. They're going to go 8 into 6 here. And I think we just let them have it. I don't think there's any reason to save the board at that point. When they start going into 7s and 8s and all that stuff, 9 into 7, I think they can have that too. We know they're not going to play down another Kuzan, so we're going to have multiple swings, and we're going to be able to play this next turn. We're going to be at 6 life total. If they're having to sit here and control the board, we're really ahead, in my personal opinion. So now they're going to go 10 into the dragon. 9 is a little weird. But I think we're okay to take the next 2 attacks, so we're going to let that go. I don't think I want to give them cards in hand, especially knowing, I mean, I'm going to play another dragon here. We have the Kuma in the trash now, so we can go dragon into Kuma again, heal up, so we can go take, and we'll be all right. No, they only have 1 swing. Why am I saying take? We take 1 life. They go Sengoku, they get to draw 3 cards, basically. So they're going to go from 5 cards into 6 cards. They go +1. It's pretty nice. They go +1. They go Hina and Suru, so we know they grab 2 2k counters. They're going to swing 8 into face. We are just going to take this pretty, I guess, aggressively at this point. I don't really know. To me, it's not so aggressive. I think we're all right. I think we're just going to hit them for a little 7 poke into face. Oh, we don't have 2 8-cost characters. Man, we screwed the pooch. We had to play the dragon first there because I forgot the Kuma does lose its extra attack. So they could go Pheasant Peck again, or they could just double 2k. They're going to go 2k, 2k, so the 2 2ks we just saw them draw. We're going to go 8 into face, and then we're going to redevelop the board. Literally exact same thing we just did. They go Pheasant Peck, discard 1, draw 1. They're down to 4 cards in hand. We're going to go Dragon. We're going to turn Ursa Shock and 2k and Hawk, and then we're going to play out Akuma. We should have 1 extra card in hand, by the way. We're going to drop the Sabo, gain a life. We're going to be at 6 life and pass. So we can keep this wheel turning. I have another Kuma in hand. I have 4k counter. I have 6 life again, so they really didn't do anything last turn. I should have drawn 1 more card. That is the only thing. We should be 1 card deeper. We should have 5 cards in hand. This card on top of my deck is also a 2k counter. Statistically, should be probably, possibly, because of the amount of 2ks we haven't seen. We've seen 1, 2, 3. I guess we've returned 3 to the bottom of the deck as well, so maybe it should be. I'm not sure. Well, we're not going to let that happen for free. I'm not just going to give you that for 8. That ain't going to happen. 8 again. That ain't going to happen. I guess if you want to get every card out of my hand, but I'm not bricked up. I have options. I do have options here. And fun fact, I'm good. They're trying to get rid of the 2 8 costs on the board, I believe, so that we continue not to draw cards. Now, they're going to go 12 and 8. You can have that. Let me tell you, you can have that. You did get a couple cards out of my hand. Good for you, buddy. Good for you. I still don't think they can finish this off. I don't think they can finish this off. They have 6 Dawn total. I guess they could stop one of our characters from attacking, maybe. Maybe that's not bad, but then we just split pretty well. I'm gonna go 9. I guess I'd go 8-9, which isn't great, especially if they do Pheasant Peck, but I guess Kuzan would have to come down. The Kuzan here, or Kizaru? Kuzan, yeah. Kuzan. 7? That ain't gonna happen. I'm not giving you that for that free. Alright, I guess we're just going in top deck mode. I'm a little confused, I'm not gonna lie. 9, 9, 9, 10? What's stopping me from just going 9, 9, 9, 10? They can't go for game. If they clear my board, I just go to 8 life, and they have 0. So I'm going to go 9, 9, 9, 10. I think it's just simple math. Because 9 would be 3 cards here. So then, what's the odds of them having double 2Ks? If they have double 2Ks, because even if we go 9, they should be able to get out of another... How does this math? I think we just go 7 now. I'm going to go 7. This is going to be weird, but this will guarantee lethal or I clear the board. See, they had to take, so now it's guaranteed, right? Because we go, it's almost guaranteed. It's 10, 11. So 11 is guaranteed, 10 is not. So 10 would be 2K, 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 and then block. But if they took the 7, they're not going to do that. But if they didn't, we were going to be able to clear off one of these bodies off the board. Now 11 is actually guaranteed. We don't get the draw power. But we ended the game at 6 life. They had a full board. There's nothing they could have done. They go 2K, 2K, 1K. They should have gotten out of that last... Oh, they could tie with the 10, I guess. But they couldn't get past it. So, hey... GG's to our opponent. That was a well-fought match. We did 4 matches today, and we've won every single one. Now, let me see if I can find a losing matchup for you guys and go from there. Let's take on our counterpart, Belo. Now, I think our strategy here will not work well, so we're going to have to keep that in mind. We're going to have to keep that in mind for... Sometimes you just draw better. So I want to say GG's to our opponent. This was a really good game. We're going to let those go to the trash so we can continue searching through the deck. Now we could grab this Nico Robin. We're probably not going to get value out of it, but I'm going to grab it anyways and pass. I think we got what we needed here. I believe, in fact, we possibly might have what we need. So we're going to drop one of the Hawks just because I don't want to take that attack right away. But I will play down another one, so we're going to swing 5 in the face. They're going to take. They're going to get a trigger. That's cool. See, with us controlling their hand size, we're okay attacking them. I'm not going to lie to you. So this forces them to use this attacker pretty quickly. They play down the stage. They look at the top 3 cards. Well, they trash a card, then look at the top 3 cards, do all their shenaniganeries. They're going to do their thing. Shenanigans that Belo does, looking for certain cards and finding certain cards when they need them. It's kind of annoying. Kind of annoying. We know they're using the stage right now, so that's what's taking them a moment in case you're wondering, why are we just frozen? Well, it's because I want to build a snowman. Oh, never mind, they're not using it. Oh, never mind. Well, guess what? Never mind. Pop your Inazuma. That was not the greatest, but I understand where you were coming from, but it just did not work. We're going to drop the Karasu there. Then we're going to be able to draw a card. They're going to discard a card and draw an Inazuma. I'm going to start with going 5 in a face here. If they do take, we are going to Nico Robin. If they didn't take, we were going to Kuma. So we're going to trash the Kuma, force 2 cards out of our opponent's hand. They're going to be down to 2 life. They're going to have some swingers on the board, but we will have a blocker. And then we're going to go Dragon next turn into Kuma, because we just dropped the Kuma so that we could play the Dragon into Kuma later on. So pass. So pass. There we go. They're going to have 4 cards in hand. They drop an Inazuma and a Koala, because they couldn't really... Oh, they're going to be able to play a card from a character's effect. Well, guess what? They're down to 0 life. They're down to 0 life. GG's to our opponent. That was a fun one. They do have the blocker, but... I tap 4, Dawn. Let me math this out real quick. Let me math this out. Because I have the Ursa Shock in hand. I can pop the Koala. They discard. They buff up their bodies on the board. They search through. They grab a Belo Searcher. They grab... What do they grab? We don't have guaranteed lethal. Don't get me wrong. They grab an Ivankov, a 1K counter. And they buff up 3 bodies on the board, which would be Kuma, Koala, Ivankov. They play out another character. They drop a card from hand. Never mind. This is actually just going to be guaranteed lethal. Unless they play down another blocker and then they go Karasu. I kind of expected that. I'm not going to lie. So we're going to go take, no trigger. Take, block just to force out that last attack. If not, they wouldn't have swung it. We take. Now we're just going to go... Alright. Hop. 5 at face. 11 at face. GG's. GG's, Belo. We out-aggroed the Belo. We just out-aggroed the Belo. GG's. That was actually insane. Holy cow. And that's it for Black Yellow Koala today. We actually went on a 5-0 tear today. I'm not going to lie to you guys. A few of those matches were pretty quick, but we did good into a lot of aggro matchups, setup matchups. We did good into a bunch of variety of decks, so I think this deck profile is actually pretty good. I think it does have a few tough matchups that you may not have seen. Well, you didn't see today. I tried to find them, but I just couldn't. The blue-purple Sanji matchup is actually kind of difficult. It does really good into blue-purple Luffy, though, so it's one I'm willing to have a hard time into blue-purple Sanji, because to control their hand size, they just draw more cards with Boof Burst, so if they find enough Boof Burst and a bunch of the 3-cost events that bottom deck original cost characters, it does feel bad. But into other matchups, it feels good, like blue-purple Luffy. Again, we do really well. They take their life very aggressively over and over. It's like, you play out 9 land, you take a life. You play out 8-drop Katakuri, take a life. It does really well. Also, if they go Sanji into something, and obviously that forces them to take a life, so that matchup's really good. Green-purple Luffy is really difficult. It's not the easiest matchup because they don't really play any big bodies. They don't play characters that play characters other than Luffy Taro, and most of the time they can get through the game without playing Luffy Taro, especially in the next format. You don't need it to play out other characters, so you can just go Sanji Pudding, Sanji Pudding, Sanji Pudding, and win. And that makes it really difficult because we're not playing a removal-based deck. And it's hard to control their hand size. It's a really close match. I would say it's probably 55 to 60% in favor of the green-purple Luffy, while it's 45 to 40% in the Koala leader. So here's your matchup spreads on a few random decks that we didn't really get to try. And I hope you enjoyed today's video. I think it was a lot of fun. I've really enjoyed this leader, and I think not enough people are talking about it. So I hope you enjoy, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.